So anytime I'm having a conversation with a person, there's only two categories, relevant categories, that I divide things up into. Even when I'm talking to somebody about depression, the two categories, physical and emotional. Those are the two categories, physical and emotional. The professional community, they can't even get that thing right. They can't even get that right. They all the time are categorizing things that are just purely emotional in nature as mental in nature. What is mental? Mental is physical. It falls into the physical category. Physical includes anything that is of a physical nature. Mental illness falls into the physical category because it involves the functioning of your brain, of one's mental capacities. Think about it like this, all right? Your car has several different systems that it depends on in order for the car to function. So you've got the mechanical aspect of the car. You've got the electrical aspect of the car. And now you've got the computerized aspect of the car. But when you're trying to diagnose a problem in a car, that's what the mechanic is going to do. He's going to ask you a few questions about what's wrong. And then based on what your answers are, what he's doing in his head is he's saying, okay, well, that sounds like an electrical problem, so I'm going to have to look into these things. Or based on what you say, he might say, well, that sure sounds to me like a mechanical problem. So, and what else you might say? He might say, yep, I know exactly what that is. That's a computer problem. So it's no different with me. As I was looking at the issues that I were dealing with, that was the first step. I had to divide those things up, figure out what is the nature of the problem. They had me all believing that it was mental, that was the nature of the problem, a mental problem. Well, what category does that fall in again? It falls into the physical category because a malfunctioning brain is a physical malfunction. It's a physical, there's something physically wrong. What's an emotional disorder? Based completely on emotions, on our perspectives, learned perspectives, right? And attitudes. But anyway, mental illness falls into the physical category. It involves the functioning of one's mental capacities. You know, you can't simply reason your way out of it because it's the very functioning capacities that are themselves operating incorrectly. What are some other things that would be a physical problem? Cancer. Cancer is a physical problem. Poor eyesight. Of the two, physical or emotional, what category does poor eyesight fall into? It's a physical problem. So for all physical problems, some sort of physical solution is required. For all physical problems, a physical solution is required. It might be an operation. It might be medication. It might be eyeglasses, an eyeglass prescription. You see, these are all physical, tangible things. And when we're talking about the physical, anything that falls into a physical category, isn't that what we're talking about? We're talking about tangible things. When we're talking about emotional, the emotional category, are we talking about tangible things? No, we're talking about intangible things, perspectives, attitudes, right? Even your feelings themselves are intangible. So an emotional, anything that falls into the emotional category, then, if you're going to address it, is any physical solution the answer? Not for emotional things. A pill is not going to fix perspectives and attitudes. Right? So any type of physical approach to an emotional problem is not going to work. On the flip side, any type of intangible approach to a physical problem is not going to work. You're starting to see what's important from the very beginning to separate things into physical and emotional. Emotional issues are rooted in learned perceptions and attitudes, as I've already said. Nothing physical is going to correct them. Not pills, not gene therapy, not radiation treatment. Nothing physical is going to address an emotional problem. An emotional problem is intangible by nature. It requires intangible solutions, which is reason, critical thought, a readjustment of attitudes and perspectives, education. Is education physical or intangible? It's intangible, but it will correct and help emotional issues, because emotional issues are intangible themselves. So that's what I've been saying, right? The emotional issues have to be reasoned out. A physical solution will not fix an emotional problem, just like an intangible solution won't fix a physical problem.